Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be talking about one of the greatest guitar amps of all time. This is part 2 of the Chronicles of Blues Rock Guitar Tones. This part will be focused on the AC30 by Vox, one of the most amazing guitar amps. This amp, I think, in my opinion, defines the very early 60s blues rock guitar tones. I'm talking about bands like the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, the Yardbirds. I want to say even Peter Green was using the Vox when he was with John Mayall. I think maybe before he joined them, he was using Vox. But anyway, people were using this amp a lot because it sounded amazing. It had such versatility. So in this video, I just want to focus on this amp. For this video, I'm using my telecaster and I'm not using any pedals whatsoever. The only thing that I will do is I will demonstrate the effects of this amp, and this amp is going into the Tone King because obviously it's a very loud amp, so I need to attenuate it. The other thing is it's going to the Vox cabinet. We can see it here below. This Vox cabinet has the greenbacks. It's all stock. I was debating whether I should go with the greenbacks or the blue alnico for this specific video. I thought the greenbacks have more versatility and more people have greenbacks with their AC30. I just feel like it's more accessible sound overall. So this is why I'll focus on that. However, if we want to be historically accurate, most people are either using the silver bell speakers or the blue alnico speakers. They're very similar, but those two are different than the greenbacks. I would say quite a bit. Now, it does not really matter which speakers it goes with. The point of this video is to demonstrate a type of guitar tone. I'm not trying here to tell you how to get a very specific guitar tone of a specific musician. I want to just talk a little bit about how I'm going to approach this demo. So basically, I'll keep the volume first at both volumes at 9 o'clock. I'm going into the high input of the top boost. I'm not going to jumper the channels or use the other channel. I think the top boost channel is the most Voxy sounding channel, and it sounds better in my opinion than the normal channel. I will not use any effects or the tone cut yet. I'll set both the treble and bass at 12 o'clock, and it sounds like this. Sounds very clean. I want to say it's very one-dimensional, and it does not do the amp justice. So I'm gonna increase the volumes, both volumes together. This is a non-master volume version, so I'm trying to maintain the same level between the preamp and power amps. I will keep them always the same, more or less. Now you can find that it's very chimey, but it's not shrill, and you get lots of mid-range in a very pleasant way. It just cuts through really well. Now I'll just demo the middle position and neck position on this setting very quickly. So neck. Middle. Sounds really good. I mean, this is a perfect clean tone if I'm going for surf rock, of course with tons of reverb, but this is really good. So with both volumes at 12 o'clock, it sounds like this. That's the Vox sound. This is why this amp is very iconic. I was noticing that brightness and the chiminess of the Vox getting a little bit out of hand, especially with the Telecaster and those greenback speakers. So maybe if we put the tone cut at 9 o'clock, we'll see how that sounds. Maybe increase it a little bit. Well, it sounds actually more balanced, but I love that chimey like part of the Vox. I think it's very unique, and it's not too much. Like I'm just, experimenting with it. If I put the tone cut at 12 o'clock, it sounds like this. A little bit more. A little bit more, just to see how it sounds like. Maybe we'll keep it at 9 o'clock for now. And I want to see if I increase the treble and decrease the bass, for example, how it would react. I think I would increase the bass back to 12 o'clock. I'm losing some of that depth, Sounds much better with the bass at 12 o'clock, but I want to just see how it sounds if I put it at 3 o'clock, similar to the treble. And I'm not going to move the tone cut yet. I'm going to just see how it sounds like. What I'm noticing about this amp is that the EQ is very interactive. It's not very linear. If I play like with the treble, I think the bass is being affected, and vice versa, and even with the tone cut. This is what's so cool about the Vox amp, is that it's a very organic amp. This could be a little bit of a hassle sometimes. I think it does, have lots of character. So I'll just keep the treble and bass at 12 o'clock. Now, I want to increase the volume at maybe 2 o'clock, both volumes. This is gonna sound more saturated. The amp rocks. With that setting, I want to maybe increase the tone cut to 12 o'clock just to see how it sounds like. I think it's going to start sounding very dark because most tube amps, when you crank them up, they lose some of that high end. So let's see how it sounds like. Sounds really good, but I think it's a little bit too dark. So if I put the tone cut all the way down, let's just see how it sounds like. Overwhelming. And the other thing I want to point out is that even at the bridge position, and even it's kind of cranked. You know what? I have a point. Let me put both volumes at 9 o'clock. Pretty saturated, I would say. Listen to the chords, okay? feel like there is lots of note separation. It does not get muddy or loses that clarity. Yes, it loses some of that brightness, but it's still very clear, and the note separation is just amazing. Now, I want to bring back the volumes both at 12 o'clock because now I want to experiment with some of the effects. So the first thing is going to sound like this without any effects. So this is how I like to use it most of the time. I don't like to crank it a lot. It sounds amazing and everything, but most of the time for that typical Vox sound, I like to keep the volumes at 12 o'clock. So let's try the reverb. I'll put the tone and the level both at 12 o'clock just to get an idea on how it sounds like. The spring reverb is actually a real spring reverb in this amp. It sounds amazing. Now, let me maybe put it at 9 o'clock, both the tone and the level, and see how it sounds like. It's very incredible, luscious, whatever. Now, all the way, because why not? Let's just take a minute to appreciate the spring reverb on this amp. Spring reverb, it's very easy to get like a very washy sound that's unusable, especially if you're cranking the amp. And bear in mind, I'm putting the volumes at 12, which is lots of gain coming from a tube amp. However, the reverb is well balanced. It's not too overwhelming. It does not drip, but that's fine. I mean, I'm not expecting it to be that drippy or that surfy, but it sounds amazing nonetheless. Now I'll back it up to 12 o'clock, both the tone and level. And let's now see the tremolo. I'll put the speed and depth at 12 o'clock just to see how it sounds like. I'll only increase the depth to 9 o'clock. I'll not change the speed, just to see how it sounds like. Okay, I mean, it sounds amazing, but at this level or at this depth, you are kind of restricted on how hard you can play and maintain good clarity. So if I put it all the way up, I'm gonna play slower and more atmospheric stuff, you know, so it's gonna sound like this. So with the reverb and the tremolo all the way up, except the speed, I think it's gonna sound very garage rock-like, which is amazing. I think it sounds amazing. So enough with messing with the effects. I think they sound amazing and more than just usable. I might just keep the reverb at 12 o'clock. I think the tremolo is very like specific for specific types of players and tones. To me, I love tremolo. It's one of my favorite effects, but I don't use it 100% of the time. Now, the one thing I want to say about this amp that I really like is that it sounds absolutely incredible at different gain stages. And this is why I think this amp is such a legendary amp. I think if you want an amp that is very versatile and can do it all, you gotta go with the Vox. Now, to me, I would recommend going with this AC30 head. This is not the most accurate Vox sound. It scratches the edge. It is a Vox amp. It is an AC30 sound. But I wouldn't say this is the most faithful in terms of like the 60s tones. But as I said, this is not all about getting the exact tone. It's about getting the type of tone. So this is definitely a recommendation from me if you want an amp that is also not very expensive. If you want to go with it, you're not going to regret it. And as you heard, it sounds really good. Now, the other thing I want to mention is that when it comes to blues rock, yes, this was used before like Marshalls and Fenders, but it came back multiple times. You will hear lots of Led Zeppelin records in the 70s that used Vox. I mean, even Tony Iommi from Black Sabbath used Vox at some point in recordings with Black Sabbath. Brian May is a big example. I don't think of Queen as like that blues rock 60s band, obviously, but this is just a testament on how versatile this amp could be. And bear in mind, I didn't use any effects from any pedals. I could easily go with delay, I could easily go with an external reverb, modulation, overdrives, and you can get so much from this amp. So this is a very straightforward video. I think we can make a series about blues rock of the 60s and the 70s without talking about the Vox, and this is the main reason why I'm talking about this amp. And you can see how many sounds I was able to achieve without touching any pedals, without using any pedals. And I know so many people who use the Vox amps did not use pedals. Now, the message of this video is if you want blues rock tone, you have so many options, but the Vox is definitely one of the best options that are available out there. Please subscribe, please like, and of course, the most important part of this video is I want you to share this video on the Gear page, and I'll see you next time.